for agreeing to do this conversation. I guess that it will be very interesting for everyone, like for your fans, for our fans, for maybe for fellow bands who are trying to do something in this music industry. So
Yeah, hopefully.
my first question is, can you tell me how your band functions? Meaning, who has which responsibilities, who takes care of merch, promotion, how it works with you guys?
Well, in our band, it's like mainly two persons take care of the things you named. And, so me and my husband, Philip, we are taking care of promotion and for creating merch, creating graphic arts. Philip is writing music. I'm taking care of social media. And for example, our guitarist Stepan, he is working on technical stuff. So he's taking care of our sound, equipment, our rehearsal room, and such technical stuff. And all at the same time, Philip is taking care of communication with the sound engineer, on like what the sound of the band should be, with the light man, of about how our show should look like on the stage and such stuff. So it's like basically me and Philip, and Stevan is helping with the technical stuff. And I actually hope that in future, because we talked about this topic with the band, so we hope they could help us with a little bit more work at the band. So hopefully.
I see. Well, you're the third person I'm interviewing for these talks, and really, in most cases, there are only a couple of people dealing with everything, and it's the same in our band. So, I mean, it's quite a trend over here.
Yes.
And do you have do you have a constant sound engineer, like who is working with you, and light engineer?
Well, actually not. We are basically using people that are local in the venue or in the festival, and Philip is just standing there with the sound engineer and just telling him we like this, more loud, we like this, here we have this, and stuff like that. So it's just cooperation between our I don't know how to say it. He's not a sound engineer, but he's taking care of the band sound, and he's cooperating with the sound engineers. So
okay, I get it. So the next question is about labels. I didn't find any information about you guys signed, but maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please tell me how it works with you. Are you an independent band, or tell me?
Yeah, we are independent.
Okay, and you were not signed before, right?
No. Okay. We are very independent.
Very independent. So are we. And
Yeah.
would you like to get signed?
It's questions we discuss about with the band for actually a few years now, and we are still not 100% sure about it. So it would probably depend on the exact contract with exact label, what they would offer, because we had some offers before, but we were not much, we weren't convinced that this is a good way for us. The contract didn't sound good for us, so we decided not to. But I think with some major labels like Napalm Records, Nuclear Blast, it's definitely a different story, because it's really good for a band to be signed with a big label. So then you start to lower your requirements, let's say, or expectations, because it's you're a little fish in a big sea.
I see. But like, do you believe that nowadays it is possible for an independent band to grow without a label?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's actually much more possible than it was before, thanks to the
Mm-hmm.
social life, social media life, or online life, virtual. I think it's actually much more possible. I mean, there are still some limitations, definitely, and it makes it much harder to be independent. But it has also some positive sides. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
about what to choose. Because if you don't choose wisely your label, you can end up, mm, in the, I don't know how to say it. Uh, in a trash.
Oh,
I really.
yeah. Well, I know some bands with such examples, and yeah, they were just waiting for their contract to end. That's
Yes.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
totally
so
agree.
you spoke about social media, and I saw that you are very active, like on Facebook, Instagram, and can you tell me like what your favorite platform is? And I don't know how often do you post there? How much time does it take you to, be so active as you are?
Hmm. Well, for me personally, I love Instagram the most. I think because I'm very like visually, I like pictures, I like videos, I like visual things, I like image. That's what I'm most focused on. So that's why
Mhm.
Instagram is so close to me, and why I love that platform. Uh, and well, we are using, of course, other needed platforms like Facebook, and we are using, I don't know, Spotify and whatever you have in mind, because I don't know now, but
Mhm.
everything needed nowadays on social media. But yeah, I'm most using Instagram, and I used to try to post there every day, and then I realized it's just such a big burden on person to
Mhm.
create quality content, because I think nowadays the quality of Instagram is increasing, and it's much more, you need to take care of it much better. You need to really think about how your feed in general will look like, how your pictures will play together. And I realized it just took so much time and effort that it was not possible to do it every day. And I realized that it's not such necessary thing to do it so often. So I mostly do it like once, 2 or 3 days. And for the band, it's
Mhm.
like 2 times a week, probably.
Mhm. Cool, cool. And are you using the Instagram feed only or Instagram stories as well and live
Well,
streams?
I'm me and the band, because I'm also taking care of band Instagram. I think we use Instagram stories more because there is not such a big uh, emphasis on the visuals and on the quality. So
Mm-hmm.
you can
Mm-hmm.
communicate there much better and quicker way. And in the feed, I'm trying to really put just highly visual content and really think of what I will write there, and preparing that content a lot. But for the stories, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, when someone tag us, I reshare it immediately. I share
Mm-hmm.
anything I have just, I have in mind, or if I have some interesting photo on a phone, I share it immediately. So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
love about stories. It's really good.
Yeah, I love stories as well. And even like when I'm following someone on Instagram, I love stories more. So sometimes if I don't have a lot of time to check out Instagram, I check out stories and not the feed, because it's not that polished.
Yes.
It's really more interesting, and I love that Instagram is adding a lot of tools to make your stories more interesting, like polls and all the stuff. So
Yeah.
I totally agree. And just let me check the questions. Yeah, so I'd like to roll back, and I read that your one of your albums was crowdfunded, and it also received a support from the city of Brno. And can you tell me about your crowdfunding experience? Like, what platform did you use? How it went? Why did you decide to do crowdfunding and all the things?
Oh yeah. But actually, I think it's already a few years ago because it was on our first album. So I don't remember it such, exactly, but I think it was on Indiegogo platform. I remember that we liked the way the platform works. It was good. It had a possibility of multilingual sites, and I think we really enjoyed to create on that platform. I remember we spent a lot of time working on the visuals of the campaign. The video and the pictures of the parks there. We also created brand new style and types of parks, and we created the special typical names for that parks. Like it was like something like a last minute savior or something, and Markie signature and stuff like that. And actually, thanks to that crowdfunding campaign, we were able to create our first album. And it was definitely a huge help for us for our start, because we were able to do amazing graphic art from Gustavo Sazes. We were able to pay good sound and, everything needed. I mean, it still was the first album, so there were many mistakes in our eyes. Definitely was not like a huge money put into it, but it was good for a start, and definitely good way to see how fans what fans want and how they are willing to help us. And it was a good way for us to know our fans better, because it's just a good way of cooperate with your fans.
I see. And can you tell, like, how exactly your city helped, and how did you reach out to them to get this help?
Well, I don't remember exactly how this was, because I think you here in our city you can ask your city to support local music, and if you go through the some people are deciding if you are worthy or not, and if you go through it, they give you some amount of money. So they gave us some kind of money. I think it was a big part of the crowdfunding money. I don't remember now exactly. I mean, I remember, but I don't know how to count it on euros.
It doesn't, like, I'm not interested like in the amount. What I'm interested in is that also I see that there are a lot of organizations in the world that are like appearing and trying to help musicians. And for example, I understand that in our country, I think it would be impossible to raise funds like from the government for a metal band, because I know that they are supporting a lot of artists, especially when it comes to, exporting Ukrainian music abroad. But I mean, when it comes to rock and metal, it's a bit out of the format. That's why I was just curious, like, so yeah. But I guess that, yeah, in Czech Republic, it should be easier simply because like you guys have like brutal assault and like more active metal scenes. So I can understand why. And I'm very happy for you guys that your city helped. We played in Brno. It was great. I loved it a lot. We would love to come back. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So the next question is about Patreon. I know that you have a Patreon, and I just want to ask you about your experience. When did you create it? How was it going so far?
So I think my Patreon is very young. I think it has like 2 months yet. So only 2 months. And I actually never wanted to join Patreon. I was like, this is not for me. That's what I felt about Patreon. I felt like it's a huge responsibility. I felt like I would not be able to put so much time into it that's needed for the Patreon, because it needs really a lot of time and a lot of work to create a quality content for your patrons, because they pay for your content, so you really should work hard for it. And I felt like it's a huge responsibility. And also I felt like maybe I'm not sure how society would, or how people would take it, if, because when crowdfunding campaigns in general started, a lot of people were like, you are begging money from your fans, and it's just, you are just, it's just weird. But then this idea in society quite changed, and I think it's the same about Patreon. So, for example, now when I set my Patreon page, there is still one person who was really against me or us singers to start our Patreon pages, and he was really loud about it. So there are still people who are against this platform. But what changed for me that I decided to create the Patreon page after all, it was actually because of the quarantine. I during the quarantine, I realized that I really, really want to do music and do my projects I'm working on to its fullest, because I have my full-time job, my day job, and it started to be just more and more hard to combine it with the band, with the music projects I have, with the guest vocals I need to do, with actual different project I have. And I realized I'm starting to be like really overwhelmed and really, really stressed, because we also travel quite far to our work. So I have like maybe 3 hours a day to spend with my family, with myself, on my projects, on the band. And I realized I need to change it. I need to find my way how to make my job flexible, or how to find an income for myself to be able to really focus on music. And so I talked with few musicians, with few singers that I knew are independent, or they have bands that are touring. Because when you have a full-time job, it's also a problem with the touring. You cannot tour that much because you need to fit into holidays, which is like impossible. It makes like one tour at the year, which is not enough for us.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean? So I talked with few singers, including Melissa Boni, who has set her Patreon page as well, like months ago, and she actually advised me with some advices, and one of it was, why don't you try Patreon? And I told her like, oh, I don't know, I don't feel like this. It's not, my way, and I don't want to do that. But then what really, really changed my mind, like this was the first thing that was like, I was like, okay, maybe if she is telling me this is good idea, maybe I should think through it better. But then Charlotte Wessels started her Patreon, and since she is a really a big role model in the metal industry, I was like, okay, when Charlotte is setting her Patreon page, I think now the fans definitely need to see it differently. And I think really she opened the door for us younger singers in this matter. Because if something that big like Charlotte can do the Patreon, and also I saw how amazing that platform can be, because both Melissa and Charlotte, I am their supporters on Patreon, and with also to other many people, like 10 people or something. So when I saw what they can offer to their fans on the Patreon, and when I saw how the fans are enjoying it, I didn't feel like I'm begging anymore. I felt like I can really do something additional to my fans and to thank them for their support. So I felt like this is a, this is a cooperation, not like begging. And that's why I decided to start my Patreon. And so far it's really, really amazing. And I'm really enjoying that experience so much. And I'm really happy that I did it.
No, I can understand everything. Like I started almost 2 years ago, and back then I think I knew no one from the metal scene who was doing Patreon. But then I guess that after I started, after 3 months later, the vocalist of Arch Enemy started her Patreon, and I was really. Yeah. So she was one of the first, actually, not Charlotte, but I mean, they have quite different audiences, so I can understand like that it's really different. So I mean, and I was like, okay, if she starts, then maybe more people will understand like what it is. They will find out, because I remember when I started, there were people who didn't know about Patreon at all. So there were a lot of fans, our fans, that registered on Patreon to support me. And now I see that they already support other people as well. So right now it's really easier. And I guess that a lot of people started speaking about Patreon during the quarantine. It's really,
definitely.
So I'm super glad about it. And I also just released a video about Patreon on YouTube. And one of the reasons why I did it, it's like every day someone asks me about Patreon, just because I've been there for quite a long time. And like they think that I know everything about it. And so I'm just glad that it's moving on. And I really think that it's a great tool, and I think people will get used to it, just like they got used to crowdfunding, because right now it's also not that of a problem to crowdfund an album. So so the next question is about our pain and touring. So what I wanted to ask is, did this pandemic affect your touring plans? I mean, did you have something planned for this year, and was it postponed? Was it canceled?
You want to make me cry.
I can cry with you together, because right now we were supposed to be on tour. So you tell me.
Oh my God. That definitely affected our plans, but I must say we are lucky that we were not on the shoes of, I don't know, Vision of Atlantis and other bands who were just on the tour. They needed to cancel, or they were paying for the tour and it didn't happen. I think that's the worst scenario possible. So we were lucky for that we just came back from one tour in Europe. It was actually, we needed to cancel just one last date of the tour and came back, and we actually ended up in the quarantine after that, like 2 weeks of quarantine at our homes because we were on tour. But that's the good scenario, to be honest.
Absolutely.
But we had some touring planned, but not paid for yet. No one paid for it. Our booker did not pay for anything, etc. So it was a good scenario. We were supposed to go to Mexico in this fall again. We were supposed to go to Japan at the start of the next year, but the preparations, you know how it goes. You need to prepare it like year in advance or half a year in advance at least. So the preparations basically stopped because we have been, we are now waiting for example, for the Japan, we are on the waiting line because more tours for other bands has been on the plan. And since some, we need to wait now because it's just, so it's really sad. And also we should have been on the tour in Germany with another great bands. And I don't know, it's just I don't know when this will be back where it should be. And I'm starting to be a little bit like anxious because you know how it is without touring.
Mm-hmm.
I am sure you feel it the same, this pain hole here.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like for us, it's been a disaster because we just released an album and we were supposed to have
Oh,
at least two tours this year. So, I mean, not being able to tour in the year of the release of your album is, I don't
that's
know.
bad.
And like you said, like the problem is a lot of tours from this year are postponed to the next year. And
Yeah.
I also work part time at the booking agency, and I know that a lot of venues have been packed, are already packed for the next year. So if you want to
Yeah,
plan something, it's very hard to fit in. It's like,
exactly.
I don't know, but I mean, what can we do? Like everybody is in the same shoes right now, and I don't know. I just hope that it ends at least next year, and that we can start over again with all this touring. And have you considered online concerts? Because right now it's quite a trend as well.
Well, we did not yet, but I also noticed that it's you know starting to be a thing. I don't know. We did not talk about it yet, and I did not think of it like because I'm forcing myself not to think that this is going to take a long time, that this is going to be forever. I'm still thinking like this will end soon and the live concerts will be here again. So
Mhm.
I just hope that there will be no need for online concerts because it's like, I don't know, it's just not it's just I don't know how can you perform a concert without the energy of your fans? It's just weird. I know it's needed probably, but it's weird.
Mhm. Mhm. I see. Well, how to say, I understand fully the bands who are doing it, and actually I was paying for an online show of Amorphis, for example, and I enjoyed it a lot. But I mean, they had great production. They've been playing for 30 years, so I mean the
Mhm.
band is very professional, and I know that our fans were requesting these online concerts as well, but I just feel that we are not ready for this, and I'm also hoping that the live shows are going to be back anytime soon,
Mm.
but so far, I mean, everyone is speaking about the second wave of this virus, and
Uh,
I guess that no one knows about anything. What I'm sure about, though, is that we have to feel something like we cannot keep silence while touring is not available. So, I mean, more than
mm.
ever, we need to produce like more content and give something to our fans in return or like instead of touring. And I'm
Mhm.
like every day I'm trying to figure out what should we do. That like it's it's a very complicated question.
Yeah.
And so actually one more question that is quite new that came to my mind is so let's say we can roll back in time. What would you do differently about your band? Like, do you feel there were some mistakes that you did, or maybe like you would do something differently? What advice
Mm.
could you give yourself, like when you started?
Well, I would definitely, our band came from zero to where we are now, and it was through a lot of different mm, I don't know how like periods, let's say.
Hmm.
And I think I would definitely skip some of the periods that were not so successful and so good working because
Hmm.
now I know some things. I know what we did wrong. Um, I don't know what exactly I would actually advise to myself. Maybe just start with everything I started earlier you know. I
Mm-hmm.
think it took us very long time for I think it's like, I don't know, like 8 or 9 years. And I think if I would know what I know now, we would go there where we are now in like 3 years, I believe, so maybe sooner,
Mm-hmm.
because we just learned during the time, and we actually started as total amateurs, so we did not know, we didn't know anything about music and about the business. So everything I learned, I would use it now from like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
big start.
I see. I totally agree with you because I want to do a video on YouTube about everything we did wrong with our band, because actually if we only had like all this knowledge and maybe an advisor who could tell
Hmm.
us like not to do certain things or to do them faster, because really I guess that the speed of the band growth and like the speed of doing everything and being regular about it is one of the top keys to success. And
Yes.
I also I also feel like that that's why there are a lot of bands who, you know, some band members of certain bands, they start other bands and they are more successful in it because
Yeah.
they already know everything, and that's why they can just, you know, they can boost their growth very fast. And I'm just watching everything in this sphere, in this field, and I'm like, okay, why didn't we do it like back then?
Hmm.
Or why did we do it? Because I remember that we were, you know, sending physical promo packages to labels like with our first album, and it was like, I would never do it right now. I would just tour, I mean, or do something else, but I would never like sit and write like letters to the labels on my own, like physical letters. So yeah, well, actually, I don't have like any other questions prepared. So it was quite fast, which is good because like with other guys, it was like 1 hour, and I'm not sure that people are going to, you know, sit and listen to everything. So I think, but I really loved our conversation, and especially about social media and about everything. And I would like to wish you success with your Patreon, because I really think that you have everything to be successful on Patreon.
Thank
And
you.
I hope that touring comes back soon, and maybe we will see each other somewhere at the backstage. Who knows?
Yeah,
So thank you
hopefully.
once again. I will stop recording now. Okay, so
Okay,
just
so
to let me find.